Alrighty, how are we all today? All doing well on this beautiful day we had today here in Newcastle. Not sure where you're all coming from today. Bear with me 2 secs, guys. I'll just wait for everyone to jump on. So tonight I'm going to be talking about trying to get the most return on investment out of doing construction or building houses or building dual keys or just outright building, and just the right and the wrong way of doing it. Sorry, say that again. The right way and the way other people do it. I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's just different ways of putting it together. So I have a little spreadsheet for you guys tonight, not spreadsheet, sorry, slideshow for you guys tonight to go through with you. And I just want to break down for you guys when I'm doing construction, because I basically build, you'd say 99% of my investment properties. I want to just show you different ways you can do it and the way I do it and how it's easier for me. It's just, I don't even lift a finger half the time. And that's what we do for all our clients here at the Property Bloke as well. So I really wanted to take you through that tonight. And just make sure everyone's aware of what you can actually do out there. Because at the end of the day, guys, time's money, your time's money, and you've really got to focus on your job in some scenarios. So you don't want to spend too long sitting in builders' offices. So, guys, I'm going to share this screen with you guys now. Bear with me 2 seconds. Little PowerPoint I've put together. I've just got to figure out how to get started. Sorry, guys. All right, we're on. All righty, guys. So what I'm going to walk through you tonight is just a little bit about construction and about building your house. Especially, this is all around investment, okay? So if you're building an owner-occupied home, definitely that's a different structure. It's totally different to what I'm showing you here. So I just want to go through how I build property, and honestly, it's the best and most effective way of doing it, I believe. 100%, so much easier than what I do see on a regular basis. So bear with me here. So, and if you're a member, just keep in mind, any comments you got, throw them in the chat here in the comment section. Any questions, put them in there as well. I love questions, and I love to know how you guys are going. So tonight's scenario, I'm basing it on a 4-bedroom house and land package. Now, this is what we call a 100% complete package. This is not a turnkey. For those of you who don't know, a turnkey property is not 100% completed. The turnkey side of things, sometimes you're missing grass out the back, sometimes you're missing fences, aerials, sorry, that's TV aerials, curtain blinds, floor coverings. So what I'm showing you here is basically a fixed price, 100% completed package. That's what I'm working on my numbers of. Because when I buy an investment property, especially if it's one of my foundation properties, this is exactly how I do it. So 100% complete package, and the breakdown is 550,000, and the land purchase is 250, and the build contract's 300. So land value and even the build price of a home is different per state. But I am just going to use this one figure as an average between different states, because it'd be really hard for me to work out between state and territories exactly what the construction cost is for each. I don't work in every single state and territory. I do most, but not every single one. So I wanted to give you the advice that I know I can give. All right. So the first area where I save money is I will always do what we call a split contract. That's where you have 2 contracts. You have one for the land and one for the building. Now, some people, you can buy a brand new finished product, 100% finished. You can do that, but you're going to pay full stamp duty on that contract. So I like to save on stamp duty, and I like to build the property. It's a massive saving in some states when it comes to construction. So what I mean by that, so if you went out tomorrow, bought this 4-bedroom house and land for $550,000 finished, so it's brand new, already finished, you will pay stamp duty on $550,000. So when you're looking down here in this left column here, I've got each state and territory listed and what the stamp duty is per state and territory. So as you can see, New South Wales isn't the most expensive stamp duty state, but that's because these other states and territories for the same product might be cheaper. So therefore, their stamp duty rates are a lot different to New South Wales. So Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria are the three main states I deal with. And you can see there is a little bit of a difference there, especially in Victoria when it comes to stamp duty. Now, I don't go to a certain state purely for the stamp duty concession, but I just wanted to break down for you here. So if you did the full contract here, you've got, say, for example, New South Wales, $20,000 would be your stamp duty. If you bought the land at $250 first and then did construction, you would only pay $7,000 for stamp duty. So you're actually saving $12,900. And the thing with stamp duty is it's a cost that's only deductible against capital gains tax. So this is a capital cost. So it doesn't make any difference to your tax return for that financial year. A lot of people think it does, but it doesn't. Your accountant will tell you you can't claim that till you sell the actual property off. There is word of changes to stamp duty, especially in New South Wales, but we just don't know what's going to happen there. I don't believe there'll be much of a change. There never seems to be. The government likes to take that tax on a regular basis. But you'll see down the bottom here, the biggest one, I was actually shocked at this myself, the Northern Territory, stamp duty on a $550 purchase, because some parts of Northern Territory are actually quite expensive, $27,000 for stamp duty, but on the land only, it's only $7,000. So that's nearly a 20 grand saving. That's huge in Northern Territory. That's a massive saving. So that's the big standout for me. And probably the smallest standout is Victoria. Your saving there is not as high as what it could be. But of course, you've always got the old ACT, the Australian Capital Territory, where all the politicians are. Stamp duty down there is so cheap, it's ridiculous. But I definitely wouldn't invest in ACT just for that reason. You really want to make sure you invest for the right reasons. So the first area where I always gain some return on my investment is when I buy the land separate to construction. And then I build the property with progress payments to the builder. So that's one area there where I definitely save a fair bit of cash when I'm putting it together. So the next part is the actual construction. So with this, you've got normally five separate payments to the builder. You'll have the base stage, which is the concrete slab, of course. That's normally around the 15% mark of the total building contract. Then you've got the frame, which is about 25%. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, what I've got is the rough cost for each percentage to get to that 300 mark at the bottom. So the biggest part is each stage, your builder should send you a photo of where it's up to. Now, I know the builders that I use, they will always send me a photo, but I'm one to go out and check. So I will always drive past just to make sure the property is actually at that stage. Because occasionally, like I'm talking 1 or 2 times in my whole career, that the foreman for that builder has sent the wrong lot number through. So it goes through the wrong system, and of course you get the wrong photo of your property. Doesn't happen very often, but I like to double check. And with most of our clients here at the Property Bloke, we would normally check theirs as well under normal circumstances, if we're not restricted from border crossings, etc. So that would be each stage we like to check, and normally the base and the frame goes up quite quickly, and then I'll let the place sit for a couple of weeks while the concrete slabs cures. But as you go through your concrete slab, 15%, you'll have to pay the builder $45,000. Now, if you've set your construction loan up correctly, basically you just send the invoice over to your bank, and the bank will pay the builder on your behalf. You will not receive $300,000 for you to direct where the money goes. Under a normal construction loan, they will actually, the bank will dictate at what point the builder gets the money. And normally they will actually send the bank valuer out at some point. It's normally base and potentially enclosed, which is about midway construction, and of course completion, just to make sure the building contract is matching the claim. It's very important you have a bank that does inspections, especially if you're building interstate. You want to make sure you have a bank that does a physical inspection of your property at least 3 times to ensure the property is at the stage you're at, especially if you cannot get up there to drive past it yourself. Through the later stages, especially with the fixing and the PC, you should have engaged a property manager at that point. And a good property manager will honestly drive past on your behalf because they would be quite local. So if you're living in Queensland and you're building in New South Wales or Victoria, you could engage a property manager at that 4th payment stage, and they can check for you. Most good quality property management companies will do that on your behalf because they're in the area anyway. It's always good to have a third party check for you. All right, so that's the progress payment structure. You've got to be careful here too, guys. Some builders I've seen actually weight the percentages very early. So they'll take a lot more money early. That's okay if they build on time, but if they're a bit of a slow builder, you'll be paying interest on that money that you don't want to pay. So just be aware of that. All right, so I'm just going to take you through each actual stage. So the first one here is what we call the slab, which is progress payment 1. And with that is honestly simple. It's a slab. So you should receive a photo very similar to this with a slab down, ready to go with the frame. All right, so that's progress payment 1. So if I received a photo like that, I would definitely sign my invoice and be happy to pay it out to the builder. The next one is the frame. So this one, if you received a photo like this is a one off Google. Sorry guys, I didn't have one handy just this morning. This one's off Google, but see these guys are still working on the frame. So if I physically got this photo, I would wait a couple of days and get them to send me a new one. But in this scenario, these guys are working hard. But as you would see, they're just about finished that framework anyway. Normally, the second progress payment would be frame and windows. So you would also see the windows installed as well as the frame. All right. Then here we got your third progress payment. So your third progress payment is normally roof and brickwork. So you'll see here with this house, you've got the roof, the brickwork. They've actually done the gyprock inside as well. So that means the electrical's been sorted, the plumbing, the basics of the plumbing's been put in place, the installation's in place. A lot of work's been done here to this property at this payment. And this is good to see. You really want to see this if you can. All right, so the next one is what we call lockup. So lockup basically is the roof, brickwork, garage door, the whole property locked up and the kitchen installed. And as you can see here with this kitchen, they've actually done the kitchen, also done the tiling, and they're just about to put the finished product on the paint, on the wall with the paint. So this property's coming along quite well. I'd be very happy if this stage was payment for me. I'd feel very comfortable with paying this. You can see they've done more than just the kitchen. They've hooked in, they've done the floor tiles, they've done the wall tiles, they've probably done the bathrooms. So it's a fair bit through, because if you can imagine with progress payment 4, sometimes you're paying up to 85% to 90% of the actual whole construction. So you want to make sure you've got that much underway. You should only be paying for what's been built. All right, and then you got completion. Simple. Completion with a 100% completed product will look exactly like this. Maybe not that fancy for an investment property, but it'll have the grass, driveway, garden, everything is in place ready for your tenant to move in. So at that point, you would do what they call a practical completion inspection. So definitely never pay your final payment until you have actually seen the property finished and you're happy with it. This is, for me, where people go wrong very often. So if you walk through your final inspection, be a little bit overprotective and be too picky. Everyone has the right to pick apart your final inspection. I'm not going to say that you don't. You've got to understand you're going to delay getting your keys. So if there is a few things, just small things, I'm happy to sign a progress payment at that stage. If there's something major that's not finished yet, I probably would hold off a little bit. But at this stage here, for any property that I build or my clients build, we would normally be advertising for tenants, if not already have a tenant waiting to move in. So we want to make sure we deal with builders where when you do your final inspection, there's really not that much to do, maybe a couple of paint touch-ups, just some small things. If you're going through your, what we call your practical completion, and you're writing a list bigger than a page, I would physically walk out of that and tell them to make another time in a week or two when they really want to get their final payment. But don't be afraid. Your final payment's there for a reason. Hold back the final payment if you're not happy with the building works. But if you are happy and there's only a couple of things to do, definitely sign that final payment. The quicker you get the keys, the quicker you get a tenant, the quicker you get rental income, and that is fantastic. I always advise my clients on that one there to see if it's at a stage where I'm happy or not. So guys, that's roughly the process of construction. But what I want to take you through now is what I believe is this is the traditional way that people build. This is not the way I build. So I'm going to show you how these guys do it. Then at the end of this, I'm actually going to take you through how I put it together. Obviously, it's the same process, but there's different parts of the process that I do a lot different to this traditional way of building. Now, if you're an owner occupier and you want to be very particular with colors and kitchen selections, traditional building's probably the way to go, because therefore you have a lot more choice. But when you're buying an investment property, obviously you've already seen the floor plan, so you just want a good quality build on a neutral color scheme is all you really want to do. So I'm going to go through this traditional building structure. So under a traditional builder, you buy your land and you take ownership on the land. Most of those builders will not prepare plans or really do too much with the building part of it, because you don't own the land yet. So that normally, if you buy land and it's, say for example, the land's ready to go, you would normally take ownerships in 6 weeks time, or 42 days in most states. And then what the builder will do is want to meet with you and to finalize the plans. You want to do your color selections, kitchen selections, brick and tile selections, and then you'll receive your final tender. Now this will take a minimum of 6 weeks. In some of the states at the moment, the market's quite busy, and this is taking up to 3 to 4 months to get to this stage. Now, what you have to realize is you're paying interest every month on your land purchase here. So this 6 weeks here, if that blows out to 6 weeks to 3 months or 4 months, you're paying 3 to 4 monthly interest payments on this land while this builder is not coping with their workload. So biggest thing here, that's an area there that I like to cut out altogether, and I'll show you the next slide in a minute. And then they will lodge the plans with council. So a normal time frame from council at the moment is around about 4 weeks. Depends on your council, of course. Some councils are a little bit quicker if there's a lot of online lodgement now. But with this here, you lodge your plans with council. You've got to get your council approved, and I actually got them around the wrong way. You cannot get formal loan approval for construction until you have council approved plans doing it this way. And the problem with that is that you have to re-lodge a second loan. So you've got the first loans for the land and the second loans for the building. So you've got one land and the second one's for the build. It's 2 separate loan approvals, and it's a bit of, as anyone done a loan approval lately will tell you, it's about a 200-page exercise. The banks want to know everything about you. So I'm one to say, no, I don't want to do 2 loan approvals. I only want to deal with a builder who has a fixed price building contract and gives that building contract as part of the land. And so I can get my loan approval done once with 6 payments, 1 for the land and 5 for the construction. And once they get what they call a letter of commencement, so basically that's your loan approval for construction, you give that to the builder, the letter of commencement, which takes about 10 days to be issued, 5 to 10 days after approval. The builder will book in the slab to be laid. And so from booking in your slab to construction of the house and to what they call practical completion, that will be about 30 weeks, because you're going to have at least 4 weeks before they can actually book your slab in, and you've got to allow 10 days for the commencement letter as well. So you'll probably go pretty full on with the 30 weeks there to get your house up to a stage of what we call practical completion. Now, with traditional building, practical completion is basically mainly, in most cases, it's just the house. There's no fencing, there's no landscaping. Sometimes there's no tiling, curtains, carpet, aircon in some cases. So under the traditional structure, what you have to do then is then go and organise all the trades to come and do all your landscaping, do your concreting, and just think, how are you going to find a trade to do all that for you in under 4 weeks in this current climate of the property market? It could take you 3 months or more to get your property finished, or you're going to pay too much for the end completion. And to get the loan approved to be able to do those end completions, that's the landscaping, fit out, etc. Sometimes you have to go, believe it or not, you have to go for a 3rd loan approval, and that just does my head in. I don't know how people do it. So once you organise your trades, fit it out, and organise the tenancy, then the tenants to move in, you could be looking up to 52 weeks. So that's 12 months. So from an investment perspective, that's a long time. That's a long time to have a house be built. That's with land that's ready to go. There's nothing wrong with the investment property taking up to 12 months, but that would be, in my scenario, if the land wasn't ready to build on. It was what we call unregistered land. 100% in that scenario, that could take a year, 18 months, but that's all about the timing of your investment portfolio and whether you have overlay with your property purchasing or not. I'll talk about that another day. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is how I do it. So that's the way traditionally. Now for me, I'm not doing that. I did that with one of my owner-occupied homes. That was a nightmare enough. I would not do it with an investment property. For me, an investment property is walk in, don't lift a finger, and just walk straight back out. So basically what we got here, it's a similar, obviously it's the same thing as construction, but it's a little bit different. I only use builders who do the land purchase. And like I mentioned before, I get a full loan approval. I get one loan approval. That's it, not two or not three. I get one loan approval for the whole amount. It normally entails 6 payments, 1 for the land and 5 for construction. With that structure, once you purchase the land, you don't take ownership. You'll see here, we've still got the 6 weeks till we take ownership. But the builders I use, they will actually lodge the plans with the council prior to me owning the land. That is going to save you weeks and weeks and weeks and thousands of dollars of interest. The next thing we do is color schemes. So I just select a certain color scheme, one for inside, one for outside. I'm not, as an investor, you should be not going in there picking the color of the driveway, the roof, the carpet, the kitchen, and all the appliances and all these little meetings you have to have. Sometimes you've got 4, 5, 6 meetings. Just you have to go to the tile place to pick the tiles. As an investor, you don't want that. That is very time poor, and you need to be smarter than that. You need to get a builder who will do a 100% complete package with a fixed price building contract. Okay, that's the biggest thing you want to do there. That'll save you months in time frame. So that's the first thing I do. That's 6 weeks owning the land, but my plans are already with the council, and more than often than not, within a couple of weeks, they're approved by council. Now, in the history of being my job as a property coach, I've only had a handful of problems with council approvals. I actually have one right now where the council approval has pushed out because the local council changed the rules on the land, and the builder is not happy with the rule change. So they're fighting. They've joined together with other builders in that estate and fighting the council to reverse their decision, which at this stage we're hoping, which we'll find out actually next Wednesday, what the outcome is. And we're pretty confident we're going to win that one. But that's the first time I've actually, for a long time, I've had a problem with council approval. But that can happen. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100% easy. Occasionally you will get a few hiccups. But this here, you'll see here, within 10 weeks, I have booked in my slab. I have a slab booked in to build. Yet with the other option, we were a few months before we could even get that in place. Then, of course, you got construction of the house, 26 weeks. That's a normal single level 4-bedroom house and land package is 26 weeks. Because if you remember, with the last one, I had booking the slab and construction combined as a 30-week progress. This here, I've just separated 4 weeks and 26 weeks, but because it's all through council, the builder knows it's coming out of council in this scenario, and they will normally start clearing the land and get stuck into it a little bit earlier. I have actually had, believe it or not, I've had a builder start construction many times on my house before I even owned the land. So they've lodged the plans of council, got them approved by council, and actually started doing the plumbing before I even own the land. Now that's a big saving. I've had clients with the frame up before they own the land. Of course, you need approval from the developer for that. The land developer. But if anything, that's a good thing because it gets the estate established, especially if they have a few blocks of land still to sell in that estate. So 26 weeks, and the difference between my process here and the traditional process is we will get a 2-week completion notice. Now, when this property is complete, it is 100% complete. Remember, I'm not going to get my hands dirty. I'm basically going to turn up, do my final inspection, and my tenant can move in 1 week after because I will get my keys. So construction of the house, 2-week notice, definitely organise the tenancy around that point, if not a tiny bit earlier. Because once the site is safe and you have a good relationship with your builder or foreman, they will let your property manager show potential tenants at allocated times. So it's very important to keep on the good side of your foreman, good side of the builder, and they will give you good access to the property. And then again, tenants move in a week later. In this scenario here, I never lifted a finger, and the process was set and forget. The whole construction process was very, very easy. So I've done here a total of 39 weeks versus the 52 weeks, which is the traditional way. Now, the traditional way, I've actually feel as if I've been a bit conservative there with 52 weeks. I actually believe it can take a lot longer than 52 weeks. But in this scenario here, we're saving 13 weeks, which basically is a quarter of the year, 3 months. And at the later stages, when the traditional way where you're doing the landscaping, etc., your loan on your investment property is basically fully drawn. So you're paying high interest, not high interest rate, high interest amounts each month while the concreters are organising and the landscapers, etc. This way, we get the keys and the tenant moves straight in. So I'm not wasting money. You think 2 or 3 months on a fully drawn investment loan at 550,000, it could be a couple of grand a month. So you could save 4 to 5 grand there comfortably as well. All right, guys. So this is the best way, I believe. This is the way we do it here at the Property Bloke, is that we save time and we actually save a lot on interest, and we get the construction built a lot quicker, especially if you're what we would call an aggressive investor or assertive investor, and you want to overlay properties and want to keep building your portfolio quicker. If you buy one property and it takes 12 months versus buy one property and it takes, say, 35 to 40 weeks, that will give you time to get your tenant in place. The bank will say, okay, that property is rented. I can give you a loan approval again for another property. So you can build your portfolio quicker if that's what you have to do. All right, guys. So that's basically it today for the construction. Do we have any questions tonight? It's okay if we don't, but that's how we save save time and money here at the Property Bloke with construction with new properties. New property, if you remember, is not for everybody, but if it is part of your portfolio and very important for your own cash flow and financial circumstances, make sure you build with a builder who does that 100% completed product. All right, so you'll see here below in the comments as well, Jess has put in there the 15-minute call link. If you have a couple of questions you want to run past me, I normally get a couple of people a week, pop in a few questions, just click that link, you'll go straight to my calendar. You'll get a quick call from Jess or Lily from our office, and what they'll do is they'll just ask a bit of a background on what you're trying to find out, just in case I need to go away and find out a bit more information first before I come back and have that 15-minute chat. But guys, oh, hey Ben, how are you, mate? Hope you're going well. So have a good night, guys. Invest well, be happy, and yeah, enjoy March. I suppose we're fully into March now. I can't believe I'm saying that. But if you need any help, guys, reach out to us at the Property Bloke. People have asked as well, our phone number, 1300 322 300. That's our main number coming to our main desk. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, or we'll pop in a 15-minute call and we can have a chat. Thanks again, guys. Have a great weekend. I'm Wayne Jessup, bringing you real property with real strategies to obtain real results for the Australian investor. Thanks again, and have a good one.